Hello and welcome to Kendal Mountain Festival. My name's Claire Carter, I'm the Artistic Director, and this is one of the live filmmaker Q&As that we have been doing across the week or across the 10 days as we are on Friday and we have 3 days left. I am busting, basically, to be inviting Pattie Gonia, who today will be Wyn Wiley, to be joining us on screen to talk about their amazing film, Dear Mother Nature, which is in the Nurture Nature 2 collection. If you haven't realized so far, then the theme of the festival this year is nurture. Now, that's about nurturing ourselves, nurturing each other, but the whole point of that is so that we have enough space to look after the environment and really nurture nature. So, without further ado, please can I invite Wyn to the screen? And there he is!
Hey everyone! Magic.
How are you doing?
I'm so good. It's so good to be with y'all. Thank you for having me.
Where are you dialing in from?
I am dialing in from beautiful and very chilly southern Utah. So native Ute land here in America.
And what are you doing over there today?
Well, I was backpacking up until a few hours ago, but then I got out of the backcountry this morning to be here. So it's great.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. I've been out for 2 days, so it was much needed to come back to civilization for a bit.
Can you tell me a little bit about the film?
Yeah, what a journey. The film was a really beautiful process to make. It kind of came at an interesting time because I was only like 11 months into doing drag ever in my life when the film was made. So it was encountering so much of not only my identity as Pattie, but also kind of my own queerness and my own life as Wyn, kind of blossoming along with my love for our planet and really realizing how much I needed to advocate for it. And how kind of late to the game I felt, I kind of up until that point, up until Pattie was born, felt very much not an environmentalist or very disconnected from our planet. And so the film is just kind of a journey into like me learning at hyper speed about the plastics crisis in our world on land in Hawaii, on the beaches, and literally seeing the billions of pieces of microplastic on the coast of Hawaii and what we were going to do about it. So that's the film. But then also I just wore a bunch of nets and almost drowned in the water and wore a dress made out of plastic bags and really tried to like use the art form of drag as a communication message for environmentalism. So that was a lot of word vomit, but that's me.
That sounds like quite an adventure in itself.
It was.
What's the journey of the film been like? As in, I mean, what's the reception been like? Where's it gone?
It's been really beautiful, and it's been very hard. I feel like the outdoor space in general tends to be a space that is more heteronormative, that is more straight and cis. And I feel like this film puts queerness in front of people's faces. And oftentimes those people are getting exposed to drag or to queer people for the first time in their life. So it's been really beautiful. And I think the reaction has been really lovely. And yet also there's been a lot of homophobia that's come along with it because it lives in very much this outdoor world that seems to be so the opposite of the outdoor world that we experience when we go outdoors. I think nature is incredibly queer. And I think we should really realize that like diversity and queerness and embracing our uniqueness is the only way for any ecosystem to thrive. So yeah, it's been all that in a bag of chips.
That's a good spiel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like, you mentioned art, and I'd like to bring in fashion. And a really key thing about the film is fun. Why did you decide to go down that road, or are you just irrepressibly those three things that it wasn't even a choice?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I feel like at the core of it, we need more positivity and connection and fun and community built around environmental topics. I mean, even if you look at Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, which is one of the nonprofits that we learned from in the film and that I meet with their founder and really learn a lot about the plastics crisis, their special sauce, their key to their whole entire org's mission is community and fun and building positivity and excitement around cleaning up beaches, having it be something they can do together. So for me, that is my art form that brings people together. And I just really want to encourage us that like environmentalism doesn't have to be only doom and gloom. I think we need positivity. I think we need humor. I think we need entertainment. And so I'm excited to kind of like dance on that bridge between those worlds often and invite people along with me.
Yeah, it's cool because I think we're often super surprised at the festival that we don't get more environmental stories, given what a big deal it is right now, and given
Yeah.
that, you know, outdoor athletes are spending their time in the environment. But I think it's because people are scared to tell stories in a, or to find a way to tell stories in a positive light. So yeah, it's a really amazing contribution.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think we're reaching like a precipice though where like that is kind of just starting to happen more, and I'm so excited for that. Like I really do want to see sponsored athletes, people that have never stepped into the environmental space step into it, because it was scary when I stepped into it, but like I'm so glad I'm here now. And I think that like imposter syndrome and feeling like we don't know what we are talking about will always follow us, but that's exactly what we need, because that's exactly who we are, as people just figuring it out. So what does it look like to be in progress, and to just like to build positivity around it? I think that's going to really be the wave that really creates a lot of energy that we need to save our planet.
And I think one of the other problems is not having a solution, which, I mean, I'm not an expert, I certainly don't have one, but you actually find some experts in the film. Can you tell me a little bit about the people that you connect with?
Absolutely. Fuck damn, the people I learned from in Hawaii are so knowledgeable. They're so incredible. They are truly people that I feel like are intersecting their biggest passions in the world with also the environmental crisis. People like an all-female scientist team with the Marine Debris Research Center that are just unbelievable and are so passionate about animals and about our ecosystem, our living ecosystem, and they intersect that with the climate crisis in ways that bring about incredible plastic research about sea turtles and other animals that are swallowing microplastics and what effects that's having on their systems. And that was so cool to see. And then almost on the complete opposite perspective, or opposite side, not opposite perspective, but from a completely different perspective, we see, Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii and how much they are doing to really create community around the microplastics movement in Hawaii. So it was just so cool to see people that took like who they were in the core of their identity and intersected it with the climate crisis. And I feel like that's what I'm trying to do with Pattie. That's what I want to encourage everyone to do in their life, because yeah, it can feel like we don't know where to start until we realize like we each and like individually have so many talents, have so many pieces of our identity, have so many pieces of what gets us excited. And I think that if we can like start there and then intersect that with like the climate crisis, that's going to be really beautiful. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. For you, that's like making a film festival all around this stuff, for the audience members, that might mean, maybe you're Latino or you are Asian and you want to really start involving like your culture and your cooking into like less waste or zero waste recipes. Like, cool, I'm fucking there for that, So I think it's just like everyone for their own little 1% that it's going to really change the game for this planet.
I'm going to ask you a bit about the percentages of you. One of my favorite bits in the film is when you talk about how becoming Pattie helps you show perspective and shows you as much what you don't know as what you could discover. Can you tell me a little bit more about what it's like to be Pattie as well as Wyn and how that helps you?
Yeah. I mean, listen, we probably have a lot of people listening that know of drag, but maybe, really haven't heard much more about it than maybe RuPaul's Drag Race or something more mainstream. I think drag is a queer art form that really lets a person explore their identities, no matter what that is. And it's always changing for me. Pattie is not one singular character that I lean into. It is really, truly the expression of like all of my femininity, and kind of just being into like art on my body and like in my soul in a way. And it feels like just unlocking a completely new me. And I really feel like we kind of all do drag in our lives. I don't think it's something that is just exclusive for queer people. I think that drag is something we all participate in, whether it is the drag of like our outdoor art forms of like skiing or mountain biking. We all have these selves we kind of hop into, and we truly feel like we are like the most like in tune with our inner self. And I just think we should explore that more. I think there's a lot of power that can come from that, and a lot of like vulnerability and figuring out how much we just don't know, and giving us something that can lead us to discovering even more down the rabbit trail of life than we ever thought. So yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of talking about drag being a metaphor for having an adventure, for being performative, or just like pushing yourself out of your zone.
Yeah. Being something that you being true to who you are, but saying what if and fuck it and going for it and exploring and maybe hopping a little bit more into like what a future self might be. Yeah, I really feel like drag is a space where like a lot of people think that we can hide, when really it's the complete opposite. It is like there's no way we can hide, and I think we really need to do that in our lives and be unapologetic in who we are, no matter who we are.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's a really nice way of putting it. I think people often do think
Yeah.
it's a way of hiding, but it's the opposite. It's
Yeah. When I'm wearing 6-inch heels and like wearing a dress made of plastic and a full face of makeup, there's no way I can fucking hide. You know, I am right there. So yeah, I would just encourage everyone to just be unapologetic in who you are, and to know that there's no wrong moves as long as we're learning, you know, because we can always admit that like we like messed up here or there or whatever, but I really feel like we just need to go for it. And I think there's a lot of us kind of waiting on the sidelines, afraid to hop in. And that's often me too, but I think we gotta go in, we gotta step into the arena, you know?
I guess this year has been a year where people have really been confronted by themselves.
Yeah.
If they've been stuck in a house on their own, or they've had closure on certain parts of their life, or they've lost relationships or jobs. It's been people have had to really face up to it. How's it been for you?
Oh man, there has never been a year like 2020. But I honestly think that there has never been a year in my life where I've taken as honest look at myself in the mirror as like right now. And I think that like I am realizing so much of who I'm not and so much of who I am, and really realizing what I need at the end of the day. And it turns out it's a lot fucking less than I thought. And I don't need to be on a plane every week, and I don't need to be doing adventure after adventure. If anything, I need to give myself more time to think and process, and to be with people, and to just almost live as if I have 200 years in a way. I often can live like I have 2 years left. And I think living like I have 200 years left and really taking things slower, I've been able to make even more of like an impact, and really make the changes that I've always wanted to happen in my own life, now more than ever. But it's also just been crazy because I've like learned how to like cook food for the first time in my life. So YOLO, I can now cook some meals.
Yeah, I think I can sign up to that one.
Yeah.
What is life kind of like on a daily basis for you these days?
It is. It's a really good question. I feel like it's ever changing. I feel like the constants in my life are like my nearest and dearest, my family and my friends. I feel like I am spending a lot of time just thinking about creativity and almost making plans for when I can truly make the community I want to make again, for queer people in the outdoors. But exploring what it looks like to make that community online right now, or exploring what that looks like to kind of just even put pause on that and explore myself a little bit more and give myself some more time. So I've spent a lot of time solo out in the outdoors this year. I've spent a lot of time also stressing the fuck out about shit I don't need to stress out about. I spent a lot of time on my couch watching Netflix. It's been a year. I don't know. I feel like it's just been all of that, all those things.
Has the experience of making a film been, what's the right word? I'm not going to say fun. So valuable that you would consider doing it again?
Oh, absolutely. I come from a background of 10 years as a professional photographer before Pattie. And I feel like I've lived so much of my life behind camera, which has really taught me a lot. It's taught me to get out of my way, and to get out of the way of my own ego, and to really serve and to really create things without my fingerprints on them in order to tell other people's stories. But I think it's also important for me to think about what is my story, because I've spent so much of my life just telling other people's. So I think the filmmaking process is really beautiful. And I'm really excited to just explore the medium of film as a communication method for climate, and to really have film be something that can bring like joy and hope and positivity, and also like a giant dose of real. and just education. What does it look like to intersect education with entertainment too? So yes, the answer is yes.
I thought it was really interesting what you just said then about getting out of the way of the story, because it's something that is really complicated to do in a film, whether to be dictatorial as a director behind the camera or to allow yourself to be in every man or every woman, which is absolutely what you managed to do. So you're like in front of the story, but a vessel for the story.
Yeah, it was very surreal. I think my film future will be exploring what it looks like to be in front of the screen when it's valuable and when it's time to do that, and what it looks like to really step behind the screen, even as a director, as a producer, executive producer on the back end too. I really want to explore that and bring other really important queer nature stories to the table. So
yeah, I've noticed you've been amplifying some really interesting people recently. Who else, if the audience are interested in following people like you or not like you, who you would recommend? Can you give us some kind of mentees or mentors that we should be looking out for?
Great question. I think that in total, the outdoor community is finally doing what we so wanted the outdoor industry to do forever, that it's just never going to do. And that is truly make the community we need for more unlikely people. There are incredible people in the outdoors in so many ways that are making such incredible community. There's Jenny Brusso at Unlikely Hikers, who is unbelievable. There's just a magical group of like hundreds of queer people that run different like community outposts for queer things, like the Venture Out Project, which brings trans people into the outdoors.
Which we have a film of in the festival.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that film's amazing, right?
It's really amazing.
So special. So yeah, there's so many people. My brain's just cycling through like a list of hundreds. But what I would say is like social media has never been better to connect and really connect with those people who you can hopefully create community with in your real life someday, very soon. So I would encourage everyone to find a group of people that they can really explore the outdoors through new lenses, and maybe lenses that really feel better to the soul. I think there's been so much of the outdoors movement that's been so toxic to people, and it's felt so competitive, and it's felt so masculine. Not that masculinity is bad, but toxic masculinity sure is. And I think we really need people embracing the outdoors as a place to do the things they love too, whether that's cooking outdoors or watching birds or just painting your fingernails in your backyard. Like, I am here for it. So I think we really need to embrace some healthier sides of the outdoors as well.
One of the reasons that I think Kendall is so in love with you is that you nurture people into the outdoors. But I wanted to ask you a little bit about how you got into the outdoors. Were you nurtured, or was it something you had to kind of fall into or fight your way into?
That's a great question. I got into the outdoors via Boy Scouts in America, which I think tried its best, but was no place for a queer kid like me to thrive. It was a pretty toxic environment. It was built around, being this masculine monolith of the perfect outdoors, prepared to be a soldier kind of a thing. And it never clicked with me. And I don't want to say I didn't have any positive experiences, because it definitely was my first time in the outdoors and really realizing I could do way more than I thought I could. But it was pretty toxic. And then even as a photographer for 10 years, if I'm being honest, like, I always went out into nature to take photos, but I don't think I ever gave anything back. And so with Pattie, I think it's been a really big like reconciliation of that, and to really try to build with a lot of health in mind, and not because I'm like this like magical person, but because I've like fucked up a lot, and so like to really kind of like use my past of inaction as motivation for action. So that is the outdoors to me. So yeah.
What are you doing in the outdoors these days?
Yeah, great question. I am tripping a lot in heels. I am also hiking a lot, not in heels. I'm also just exploring what it looks like to like seriously do the art form of drag in the outdoors. Like most of the times when I'm painting my full face of makeup, I'm doing it outside, and I'm trying to explore what it looks like more to do makeup looks inspired by birds, which are totally nature's drag queens, all the way to like what it looks like to make a dress out of completely reused material. So I have a dress that's going to be going kind of like live next week. That is a dress made of 1,000 pieces of trash from my time in quarantine. So really just thinking about like what we can do to truly like just explore the intersection of queer shit with nature shit. And so that's a lot of my time in the outdoors, or just honestly going on walks with friends, doing just what I said of like painting my fingernails in the backyard, reading a book in my backyard. I think those are equally beautiful outdoor experiences, to like all of the kind of, you know, more showy full drag looks I might do in the outdoors, you know? So I think we really need to like rewrite that like nature can just mean being in quarantine, sitting alone in an apartment, but just taking 15 minutes on our like back little patio, you know?
Can I ask you about the dresses?
Yeah, go for it.
How long does that take?
Fucking long time. Very long time. It is, it's always a process to really like concept something, and then to bring it to life. I get to work with some incredible people, who help me make different dresses or even make different dresses all for me. So I'll just bring an idea to them. So I work with like amazing zero waste designers, different like designers that design things out of like waste exclusively, out of fabric scraps, out of repurposing things. So it's always a process, and it really varies, but it's always really time intensive, because we would just definitely want to put like not only creativity, but like a reason behind a dress. You know, what is this dress communicating? What is this dress standing for that I am standing in a way? So yeah.
I think that's also a really cool thing to remember, is that when someone like you is creating on a platform like this, you're not just creating work for yourself or something for the audience to consume, but you're creating jobs and livelihoods for other people.
Yes, that's been, I don't know, coming from, a background as a photographer, there are so many times when I got asked to do work for free or for zero, for people, because it was just an amazing opportunity. And I'm like, no, fuck that. Like, I want to provide, I want to provide not only like jobs, but like really well-paying opportunities for creatives to come alongside me and to make things. And that's just definitely been a process, because it's been really hard to fund things at the level that I want to, but I've been really proud that we've done it to date. But it's like really hard when I feel like, and this is my own personal opinion, but like the capitalism and commercialism and dollars in general don't know how to support advocates or activists or people in the space that are trying to do really amazing things. I mean, like, it's really interesting. I think behind every amazing filmmaker, who's getting paid almost close to zero to do the projects they're truly passionate about and to bring environmentalism to the forefront, are also shooting a car commercial for Lexus, because that's what they have to do to pay the bills. And then they use that money to funnel that into X, Y, or Z. So I really want to see brands and industry step up and ally advocates and filmmakers and activists and people that are bringing important messages out into the world more. We really need that.
Who are some of the best brands that you're working with?
Oh, goodness. You know, in the outdoor space, I've been really, really amazed at how much REI is doing to really advocate for all sorts of people in the outdoors. Hoka One One is also doing incredible, authentic things and supporting diversity so much on their front end, but also on their back end, you know, employing people of color, employing queer people. I think we really need to see that diversity behind a brand too. So yeah, those are two that come to the top of my mind. But I would say in general, so many people give a shit. It's just about really diversifying in all ways. And really like investing in figuring it out.
Yeah, I think we're really excited about some of the brands that we get to work with as well, and the fact that a festival place is one where, you know, you can have these kinds of conversations and communicate.
Totally.
And yeah, that's part of the reason why it's so amazing to have you here. So thank you. Can I ask you what other films out there you have found inspiring yourself as a photographer and filmmaker and as an activist?
Wow. I would say that the first film that always comes to my mind when I think of inspiration is the film about Sebastião Salgado, Salt of the Earth. Okay. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I haven't heard of it. No, tell me about it.
It follows Sebastião Salgado, who is, I think, one of the world's just truly most heart on the line photographers out there, and his journey to really photograph the world and a lot of conflict in the world, and then to photograph nature in all its forms. It is a must watch. It is unbelievable.
Where can we find it?
Fucking believable. Anywhere. I think
Anywhere.
it's on like Amazon Prime, Netflix.
Okay.
It's incredible. But I think about like, I love that as like an outdoor film, even though most people wouldn't categorize it as an outdoor film. I think they definitely categorize it as a documentary. But it is a really, really amazing, completely not toxic kind of hero's journey, and kind of just human's journey to figure it out. So that is definitely a huge inspiration to me. I'm just amazed at how many films even are popping off that are really just telling incredible stories and incredible journeys around environmentalism, in their own unique ways too. I just watched a film about the orca whales in Norway that Paul Nicklin and his partner put out. That was incredible because it's just so authentic to them. It is so key to them. So I really think that we need to explore more films too that are really just true to who people are and what they're most passionate about.
Can you remember what that film's called? Is it about oil drilling?
It is about oil drilling.
I think we have it in the festival. Is it called Echoes into the Arctic?
Yes.
We have it in the festival. In
So
fact,
good.
it plays right before your film.
This is amazing. Yeah. It is
synergy.
Echoes into the Arctic. It's incredible. It's a really beautiful film that's just so true to who they are, and it's not anything that's like so showy and so like we're going to go out and conquer this thing. It's just like, here's something we should care about, and here's a film that really creates empathy around it. And that's
for people
awesome.
who don't know, can you just explain who they are a bit more?
Yeah. So Paul Nicklin and his partner Christina Midmeyer are two incredible underwater and Arctic photographers and filmmakers, and they go and create a film that basically is about something before the problem happened. So before a site has ever been oil drilled, really truly creating empathy and connection around these incredible pods and ecosystems of orca whales and larger whales and plankton. I don't know the ocean as much as I should, but plankton that they basically go after, and just to show the beauty of that environment before humans ever go and fuck it up, really, to be like, this is what's at stake and this is why we don't want this to happen. And so I think it's a really cool, almost preventative medicine, because I think we see so many films that act in crisis mode to try to save something in its last thread. And I love that this is like in preventative medicine mode. It's just really beautiful.
Okay, so you just said you didn't know too much about the sea, and obviously 2020 we all, well, those of us that had the time did a bunch of courses in lockdown. What is the thing you're going to learn about next?
Wow. I think that I am really fascinated to just learn about how queerness shows up in nature. It is not just gay penguins fostering children in the Arctic, even though that is queer as hell. It is about literal animals and also pieces of like of nature that can pollinate themselves, can change genders, can just so create such incredible queer responses and creative responses to like the requirements of nature, and to really just learn more about how queerness isn't something that's unnatural in me. It's something that's incredibly natural in me. So, yeah.
Thank you. I think that's a really cool thing to express, and I want to learn about that too. All right, we're kind of coming to the end, which totally sucks, but it does mean you can go back to tripping in high heels in the desert, which I want to do right now. Can you tell me if there is anything else you would like to tell our audience, maybe about the film or what they should be looking out for from you in the future?
Wow. It's just my hope that when you watch the film, or when you even reflect on the conversation today, like you can just feel motivated to go out there and to put your version of high heel boots are for you, no matter what that is. Like for me, it is literal high heel boots, but for you, it might be you're incredibly passionate about the plastics crisis too. It might mean you are incredibly passionate about preserving this ecosystem that you live next to, or about creating better relationships between the native people that you live next to and the native land that you like live on. So I would just say, go for it, put on those boots, and come out of your closet, no matter what that is, because we really need people living unapologetically for our planet. I think it's the best chance we have at connection and communication and really getting all people on board to save our planet.
Thank you very much, Wyn.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank y'all so
I'm
much.
gonna like,
Great
yeah,
to
from the
talk
team
to you.
here, like we're all working super hard to try and get this stuff together and to get stories out to people.
Yeah.
And it makes a massive difference to us when people like you can dial in from across time zones and kind of give
Oh my gosh.
so that we can introduce you to new audiences. So thank you so much.
Happy to. Thank you for all you're doing to do your part too. Look at you doing this as like a film festival, and you in the audience learning more, exploring more, and spending time just thinking about this. This is really beautiful. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much indeed, Pattie. Have a really nice day.
Hell yeah. See y'all later.